episode 14 of On the Shelf, the series. Welcome back. It's great to have you for this special Batastic, Batrific episode on Batman Day. Today, we have with me Lee Johnson. Lee, how are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Mike?
I can't complain, brother. I appreciate you coming on the show, especially considering I think you are a little bit of a Batman fan. I may not be the Detective Bruce's, but I have a feeling that you are.
Yeah, I don't know. Green Lantern? I don't know. It could be Batman. I don't know.
Lee is actually introduced to me by a mutual friend, Sue from the great country of Australia. So, Sue, thank you for making this connection happen. Much obliged.
Yep. Thanks, Sue. I'm just a girl who loves Batman.
Oh, no, she's getting all the credit. She's getting lots of props on this. Trust me.
Yeah.
So, Lee, why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I'm 50 years old, and I've been collecting Batman memorabilia, artwork, pretty much almost everything Batman related since about March of 1989. Now, I've been a Batman fan all my life. But I started collecting in 89. Actually, it was my ex-wife's fault. I started, I started my own business when I was 16, and I was so absorbed into my business that she was like, "You need to calm down and find something to focus on besides your business.
Need a hobby."
And yeah. And so she was like, there's this new Batman movie coming out and all this stuff, and you seeing stuff in the stores and whatever. And I was like, well, I always liked Batman as a kid, and I read comics and stuff growing up, and of course, as everybody watched the '66 TV series,
Yep.
and reruns. And I grew up on my first Batman. A lot of people go back and forth on their first Batman memories or what brought them in. For me, it would have been the Super Friends, which is, of course, for most people, a very horrible rendition of Batman. But you could not beat a kid in the set, because I'm 50, so a kid in the 70s sitting in front of the TV in the living room, eating a bowl of Fruity Pebbles, watching Saturday morning cartoons, and watching the Super.
Oh, such good times. And I'm not that far behind you in age, Lee, so I'm with you 100%. Those Saturday morning cartoons ain't nothing like them anymore, let me tell you.
No, kids cartoons and stuff are not what we grew up with. They don't have the. To me, I'm a big, huge cartoon fan. I'm a sci-fi fan, geek, all around everything. But to me, they don't have the appeal that they once had. Just my opinion.
No, I'm with you, and I think a bunch of our viewers would probably agree with both of us on that note. So you said the first memory of Batman for you was the Super Friends, and then you started collecting in '89 with the Keaton movie. What would you say? Do you remember your first piece of actual memorabilia?
Actually, the first piece I got was not actually a Batman piece. I actually have it. I
Bring it.
Dug it out, and it is a Ben Cooper Batgirl costume, which was it was my ex-wife's costume as a kid that her mom, after Halloween in 1970 whatever, folded it up and put it back in the box and put it in a box in their attic.
Yeah.
And so she was like, well, I will start your collecting out here. Wow. And that was what started. Yeah. And so unfortunately a Batgirl piece was my first piece, but yeah, that's what started. Yeah. But it's still Batman genre, universe, family, that type of thing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So
yeah.
Lee, who would you say is your favorite live action version of Batman?
Live action would probably have to be, for me, I think Keaton's done the closest to what I would consider Batman. Now, I can, of course, tear the Keaton films, the two films apart, Batman and Batman Returns. I am not a fan, there are forums, like giant forums from 10 years ago, and when the Dark Knight, films came out with the Bale, and there's whole forum things of me and, arguments with people of the Bale films. I'm just not a fan of the Bale films.
That's
to me, he didn't represent the Batman that I grew up with in the comics. I'm a big.
That's what I wanted to actually ask you, because you have, especially starting with Super Friends and everything. Batman obviously means something to you through the years. So what is that? Who is that Batman to you? What is that? What is he to you?
To me, I'm the Batman fan of the Batman from the 70s, 80s, early 90s type era, where before Batman changed into, now of course now in the early 90s he did, well, it wasn't actually Batman, it was Azrael.
Mm-hmm.
The armored, now everything now is just armored suit, and Batman is now built on par, or if some, depends on the artist, bigger than Superman. I mean, for me, Batman is built like he was built in the 70s and early 80s and stuff. He was built like an Olympic athlete. Yep. And to me, that way he's more human and more presentable for everyone. The fact that, if you were a billionaire and you wanted to, work out and learn every martial art and be a super genius and everything, and then you build a bat cave, you could be Batman too. But, and it's also, for me, it also falls in the part of the dual identity of, Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Okay.
The fact that if Batman and Bruce Wayne are both giant dudes with, 30-inch biceps and stuff, it's like, especially if, how do you explain that? The Clark Kent, everybody takes off the glasses off and, we leave that. But I mean,
well, my thing. Well, okay. So I'm gonna get you on the Clark Kent thing, because if you look at, because Christopher Reeve's performance in especially that first Superman movie, if you watch that one scene in Lois's "I can't believe that she can afford a penthouse on a reporter's salary" penthouse, when he does the slouch,
yes,
and he does to this. I mean, the dude should have won an Oscar for that.
Right.
But you're right.
Right. That goes in, and for that moment, if you jump to the Batman in live action, it's Keaton with either, when he first, when he's in the mansion, he sees the bat signal on the wall behind him, and he looks and turns. It's kind of like he goes from being the person, everybody's Mr. Mom and everything could never do, he goes from being, you go, wait a second, that's kind of good, and then also, in the 89 film, the whole, I'm Batman, that just makes you, psychologically, it pulls you into it more.
Right.
Whereas with me, with the Bale films and everything, it's being sort of course, they change the history, they change, everything for the film era and for the people that are not fans and stuff like that to watch. They just, kind of push a different type of Batman towards you.
Yeah.
Because later in the third, and then we'll go into the whole issues with Heath Ledger's Joker. Not really the Joker. In my opinion.
I can't disagree. Right. I'm with you. I didn't like the Bale films, and I probably lost a couple subscribers saying that. But
yeah.
Bale is not my favorite Batman, and he's not on par with like Clooney as a Batman. But not my cup of tea.
Yeah. I have not watched the last Bale film. I would not watch it. I have not watched. I watched the first 15 minutes of Batman versus Superman, and Affleck just could not do it for me.
Okay.
Everybody of course, the scenes on the rooftop at the beginning, which is the only parts I've seen, is, him jumping around and doing whatever, just didn't, yes, it's very great action. And yes, people will say it matches up to the comic book so great.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was overdone.
Okay.
And for me, that's, honestly, if it was up to me, if you said you can go make a Batman film,
okay,
I don't know if you've ever heard of Sky Captain in the World Tomorrow.
Of course.
Okay, yeah,
absolutely.
If you did, I want a Batman film done 40s era ish in the sepia tone.
Oh yeah.
That kind of to me that would be perfect.
That would be neat.
that would be neat. Or for me, the best Batman that has been on film yet is still Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which is the animated movie. To me, that's the only real Batman that has been on screen.
Kevin Conroy would appreciate you saying that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. You know, to me, that's the only way that they've done it. And for me, take that, get the right actors, and just redo that whole film for the most part live action.
Oh yeah.
Do it mocap. Do it mocap with CGI like the old Beowulf movie. You know,
that was a good
from
one too.
the yeah. Do it like that. You don't even have to. You know, like everything I'm saying. I'm gonna mention the new film. No bueno. No, yeah.
That's okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So now let's focus actually on what you have. Let's check out your merchandise. So I asked you obviously to bring a couple pieces of your collection, which is spans 30 years, which might be older than some of the people watching this, but you've got a lot of cool stuff. So show me some of your awesome wares.
Okay, so I just grabbed a couple of sort of random things from different parts. These are some original scripts from the '66 TV series. And these are all signed by the cast.
Yeah, you can see it. Adam West's signature is clear as a bell.
And then this one, which is a really good one, which is signed by Vincent Price. It was one of the Price Egghead ones. I actually got these from William Dozier's widow many years ago, and I actually have a couple more, but they're put up somewhere I couldn't find. But my memorabilia, I go from the beginning, the 40s, till now. I mean, I bought stuff at Walmart yesterday. But I'm very picky now on what I get.
I don't blame you.
And then we'll go to... Now, this is a piece some people will know, some people won't. It is a animated maquette that was done for the Warner Brothers Studio Store that was never put into production.
Wow.
Because it was deemed too risky. Because, well...
Yeah, move it that way a little bit. There we go. Oof. Yeah, I can't imagine why.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, though. It's a beautiful piece.
They created them and had made about a 500 run or so of them, and then all of a sudden the executive said, "Nope, not going to do it. Kill them." And so there are about 15 of them still in existence. The rest of them were destroyed.
Wow.
That piece is awesome. That. Then we'll go into. I'll just go to. I'm a big watch collector. I have over 1,000 different Batman watches.
1,000.
1,000.
Sweet baby Jesus.
This one is a watch made by a company called Dirty Time in the 1970s. And the reason I picked this one, I've got all kinds of other rare ones, but this is one that's been recently discussed with myself and a bunch of other collectors. There's 5 known examples of this. We're none of us are yet sure. We can find no marketing information on them. Nothing like that. Usually, and the company was a huge marketing. They did like Richard Nixon watches and all this stuff in the 70s. That's what they did, was political watches and stuff. And what best that we could tell is they were a set of prototypes that were made to be sold in their stores.
Okay.
And then they just either didn't get the actual license to sell them.
Right. And
then just like sold them or whatever, because one of the collectors, because of course I'm associated with a group with all the other big Batman collectors, as most collectors do anymore.
Of course.
I've been involved with Batman fanzines and stuff since the early 90s. And wrote for them, wrote for magazines, TV articles, and all that kind of stuff over the years.
Really?
Yeah. I used to do panels at cons. I used to co-own a convention in Florida.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, for some reason I've generated watches and stuff, and I also do collect comics and stuff. I was also one of these comic collectors that anytime Batman would appear in any other comic,
you'd get one,
even if he's in one panel, it was like I had to get that comic as well.
Yep.
So I'm probably somewhere around 10 to 13,000 comics. I go from issues 100 of Batman and Detective up until the end of right after Hush.
Okay.
They just, for me, starting changing Batman and the entire Batman universe too much to where it wasn't the Batman that I grew up with.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, it's your collection. No one's telling you that you have to collect stuff you don't want.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, but that's still an impressive collection, though.
Right. Yeah. But people do try to tell you, oh, you should read all the new stuff, and how can you not like it if you don't read it? And it's like you see enough online anymore to just look at it and go, yeah, no, thank you, that's not for me.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're allowed. Yeah. You're entitled to your opinion. If you do not feel that you want to collect it, don't collect it. And that's a lesson for everybody.
Yeah. So another item that's rare. Now I will show you two very common items, and then an item that goes along with them that most everyone's never seen.
Okay.
Okay.
I like where this is going.
So.
Oh, mugs.
You have these two mugs. These two milk glass mugs. Oof. There are 10 million of them out there in the world. You can find them at any farmer's market, whatever, Yeah. They were made by Westfield. And they're super common. Like I said, you go into any antiques mall, whatever, you're going to find them.
Right.
Now, at the same time, when the company made those, they were also making cereal bowls of other characters. And so they decided to do a Batman cereal bowl.
That's so cool.
But the thing is something happened and they ended up not making the cereal bowl.
Wow.
So as of now, 30 years of collecting, discussions with multiple collectors, there are only 3 of these known.
Wow.
So the funny thing, I picked it up in an antique store in 1991, and it was just sitting there up on a shelf, and I was like,
never seen that before. Right.
I've never seen that, and so I think I bought it for like $15, and trust me, a super good investment compared to what I've known I've been offered for it.
Oh, I'm sure. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. One more piece?
Yes. One more piece. Please, by all means, brother. Trust me.
Okay, so if you've ever seen the Dark Winter's Night snow globe.
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. This is the original sculpt, master prototype, that was used to make the original, the miniaturized sculpt. They would do a process that then they made a mold off this and then shrunk it down. And this is also the paint master that William Paquette did.
That's insane.
So cool. There have been some garage kits done that are very similar to it. But this is the master prototype.
Wow.
And so, I've got, tons and tons. Best estimate guess, I've got over 35,000 items. Yeah.
I mean, and how many of them would you consider? And I mean, inventory when you get above, I don't know, 10,000 for me would be, I'd forget to keep track of everything. But how many of those items would you say of the 35,000 are like the milk bowl and the cereal bowl and the statue are that rare where it's like down to 5?
I would say I probably have, and that's not even my artwork collection. We'll just pop into that for a second. As you've seen my artwork collection on the Instagram, which that's mostly what I've been posting on there is some of the artwork collection.
Beautiful stuff.
I would say I do have probably 500 to 600 pieces that are like extremely rare. And then the rest of the stuff goes from rare to just can't hardly find, and then
goes
everything that everybody, goes down to all the junk that I bought from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Because at that point, in the 90s, you're like, I have to buy it all. I have to buy everything.
Yeah.
And I was also one of these type of collectors that when the Warner Brothers studio stores were in business, I bought anything and everything that the Warner Brothers studio stores produced. And I actually did help them with some ideas for pieces at times.
Really?
Yeah. And so it was just, I had a good relationship with the stores, and so anytime anything new was coming out, they were made sure to make sure I got one of them. So even everything from kids' pencils to watches to T-shirts to best to my knowledge, I own probably 99.9% of everything Batman related that was put out by the Warner Brothers Studio stores from the 1989 flyer until when they closed.
Holy crap. That's amazing. Dude, that's I don't really know. And I mean, you're on these collectors groups. How many people can say that they own that high of a percentage?
Not very many, because a lot of it was also regional. Some of the stuff was regional.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff was international. So
right.
I was lucky enough that my gallery managers and then the manager above them, like they actually found me the statue.
Wow.
When it was discussed at the Warner Brothers stores back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
the Femme Fatale statue. It was discussed, and they were like, I was like, I have to have one. And so mine actually came from an executive at Warner Brothers.
Really?
An executive from the Warner Brothers studio stores.
Uh-huh.
That they were like, he buys a lot of stuff. He needs it. You don't.
Yeah, dude. And I'm sure that was a no-brainer for them too. I'm sure there was no hemming and hawing about that.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So you said you have artwork that you'd like to show.
Yeah, I mean, I only brought one piece of artwork.
That's okay.
In right now.
That's okay.
But this is the original design style artwork for the Jim Lee black and white statue. I posted up on my Instagram. It's also in the Batman Museum book. I think it's in another Batman history book or something that they came out with a couple of years back. But I own the original the original design artwork to 3 or 4 statues. I forget. I also own the statue artwork for Matt Wagner's. I can't remember who's else. But I own over 2,000 pieces of original artwork. So.
Wow. So now autographs. You must have a ton of autographs, the celebrity autographs too.
Autographs. Actually, you can kind of see over here on the. Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually lucky enough to be friends with most of the 1966
really
people. Yeah. This is Yvonne Craig, of course, who I was really good friends with. She was a sweetheart.
I was going to say, I've always heard nice things about her.
Yeah. And of course, Adam West. I knew Adam.
I met Adam. I met Adam at one of the shows, and he was just such a nice guy.
Adam was a good guy. Bert's a great guy. Julie Newmar's great. I was lucky enough to be friends with Frank Gorshin. Frank was Frank was everything you ever saw on TV and then more. He was always on, and it wasn't always but he did impressions and stuff for years before he did Batman and Robin,
mm-hmm.
and so he was just always that kind of person. Tremendous actor, stage actor, everything.
It's phenomenal. So you have like Keaton's autograph and everything. You go all the way up to 89.
Oh yeah. Keaton, Nicholson are down here on the wall.
That's okay. We'll if you can later, just take some pictures. I'll drop them in on the feed. So Lee, let me ask you. Now you have a phenomenal collection. Probably I've never seen as complete a collection, but I'm sure that there's probably maybe 1 or 2 pieces that you would consider, if you had unlimited funds, potential access to a time machine, that you would have a holy grail piece, that you have a piece or pieces that you would love to have for your collection you have yet to obtain?
Well, it's a double-edged story. At one point in time, I did own a Detective Comics 27 and Batman #1.
Wow.
But they were stolen. Many, many years ago. It's an extremely long story. But if I could, I would love to have those back. But as any Batman fan, collector, whatever, that's pretty much your holy grail is to have the DC 27 and Batman #1.
Yep.
So that you had the first appearances.
Of course. But do you have Do you have something else that you would want that other collectors don't?
Well, actually, oddly enough, I'm also of course, I was a teenager in the 80s. and I worked at a toy store.
Okay.
And so I remember putting all of the Superpowers toys and all that stuff on the shelves and loved all that stuff. Um, I am for the most part, if you can't, I am a mint box collector. So if it might be a one of a kind, one of 5 pieces in the world, and if it's not mint, I won't buy it.
Okay.
I've passed up on so many super rare items because they're just not in the condition that I want them.
Yeah. Well, your
right,
collection.
Some people just don't. It's not about condition and whatever. And for me, it's not the resale condition. It's just I want it the same way it would have been when I took it off the shelf as a kid.
I like that.
Yeah. For me, the whole point of collecting for me is to keep your inner child happy. And I think a lot of people think that that's the weird thing is a lot of people think that collectors are the, offshoot of people and stuff, but it's not. We're the people that want to keep our inner children happy, which makes us a little happier than the people who don't.
I couldn't say it any better myself. I agree.
Right.
That's the whole point of this show, my friend. That is why we are currently standing. Well, you're standing and I'm sitting, but that's why we're here. Now, before I get to the big question, what would you consider to be maybe the strangest piece or the weirdest piece in your collection? Somebody would be like, that's an interesting one. I would never think of that. Like I've seen some crazy weird Superman stuff over the years, but do you?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of crazy weird. Well, I've got to me, Batman ashtrays, Batman's, and these are licensed. They did these in the. It's so these were, the items were put out for kids for the '66 TV show, and there's an ashtray. It's like, were you trying to encourage Batman and Ron? Were you trying to encourage kids to smoke? It's like, yeah, what, that kind of weird. And then, of course, you do have the weird stuff like the weird posed Batman water gun that everybody's seen all over the internet. Which might be behind me somewhere. Behind you. Yeah, I mean, behind me on the shelves are items.
That's okay.
Going
we can put that. We'll post it.
Yeah, from the '60s to everywhere.
Crazy.
But yeah, to me, stuff like that don't really fit in with the character of Batman, to me is the weird items. But of course, they do make really weird fringe bootlegs and stuff like out there that you steer away from.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of weird bootleg stuff. I can only imagine some of the crazy stuff that you've come across in your travels and in your time. So, all right. So, Lee, I'm going to ask you now a question which I have asked numerous people on this show. If you had one shelf, only one shelf in your house, and it could be big shelf, small shelf, it's a theoretical shelf, so it doesn't matter, and you could only have 3 items on it, what would those 3 items be? Well, Commissioner Gordon's got to stop calling me.
All right, 1 second.
Commissioner Gordon keeps trying to call me, I swear to God.
I would probably say if I had only 3 items, it would probably be I would probably say the first item, the Batgirl costume, which started it all.
Yep.
I would say probably being it's from the animated series, the Femme Fatale statue.
Yep, that's a good one.
And then I don't have it near me.
It's okay.
And this is just personal items, not necessarily stuff other people would think. When I did get married, I had a custom Batman wedding ring. So even though I'm no longer married, and that was long, long, long ago, it was still the fact that that's what was chose long before it became popular. Mm-hmm. That was the whole. Now everyone you see, on everybody's Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook's ads for Batman wedding rings and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And that was what was done for me was a Batman wedding ring.
That's awesome.
So I guess those 3 items would probably be what I would items that I own. Now, of course. If we went into all the other items of possibility, the realm of the world of everything, then the infinite shelf of Lord, you can stick a couple of Batmobiles on there, everything like that. But yeah, sometimes you don't look past the actual collectability of something, and you go for the sentimentality.
Well, that's to me they go hand in hand for a lot of the stuff because as you've shown us, the costume
Right,
means something to you, even though maybe it doesn't. You, you know, those events are in the past. What it
right,
means to you and how you got it is what counts.
right,
Like you might even say like you have a pack of Batman napkins, which means something to
right,
you. You know what I mean?
right,
So I get it and I dig
right.
it 100%. It's a fantastic collection. Um, Lee, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, especially today of all days on Batman Day, which is
right.
amazing. That I'm glad that the
Oh,
I am glad that
hypens, Batman.
the powers that be, considering that you've had some terrible weather down there, um,
Right.
allowed us this time to for us to talk and for you to be
We,
introduced
we
to my
were,
audience.
right. We were very fortunate. I live in Satan's armpit, as we call it, which is South Georgia, just north of the curve of Florida. We get like the hurricanes, tropical storm is like off to me, and it's so weather's been in and out, internet and power's been on and off, and so we were lucky enough today to get to be on here.
This has been fantastic. Listen, brother, again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna post your Instagram handle at apart from it being on the title bar here, it's going
Right.
to be also at the end. You know what I'd really appreciate if you could
Right.
do like maybe 10 of your recommended either issues, comics, comic book storylines, or even 10 of your favorite Batman Adam West episodes.
All right. Cool.
Something.
Yeah.
Just I always love getting fans' recommendations. Something that like maybe somebody who's never thought of, watching the Adam West series because they're a Bale fan or something would
Right. Right.
enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Right. Yeah. The whole thing is you have to look at the entire genre, and there are good eggs and bad eggs in
Yep.
every bit of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. 100%. So, folks,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, which many of you are doing, and it's greatly appreciated. There's that darn A word again. Subscribe. Go down there. Hit that little subscribe button. It's a good button. You only have to hit it once. And if you have a collection that you are interested in showing off, drop me a line. I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen. I want to talk. All right? Just like Lee and I have done today, want to hear from you. So, thank you for watching. Thanks for coming. And I'll see you soon.